Sovereignty Bill seeks to 1. Operationalize or reinforce Article 1, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda.
We don't need no reinforcement. You guys do not even follow the law. You abuse the law. Can we live in a country where at least you enforce 20% of the law, but you folks even abuse it? So you are bringing an enforcement to the law that isn't put in place. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in another episode of We Live in Hell, the Museveni criminal regime is escalating its crackdown on dissent. The Museveni criminal regime is advancing its controversial legislation. What we have learned that just a few days ago, the NRM caucus sat down and they came to a conclusion of supporting what they named as the Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026, I think. This is framed as a measure to curb foreign influence and funding. However, the sweeping scope and severe penalties outlined in this bill have ignited alarm across the country. They've really triggered me. You should be. And as I continue looking at what the NRM criminal regime is doing, my question now is being answered. Because I've always asked myself, how did folks like King Leopold or Adolf Hitler or Pol Pot commit all these atrocities? Had they manipulated, sort of indoctrinated people with stupid ideas? Were they leading a bunch of idiots? I'm coming to realize no. They were reasonable men, ostensibly educated, traveled, but proximity to power and accumulation of wealth was more important than anything else, that they would be blind to the atrocities that were committed in their name. I mean, one of the hobbies I have is usually go back and watch documentaries of cult, especially political cults. What makes these cults? How are you able to do this? Because it disturbs me that millions of people can be fooled even when they've gone to education, even when you think that they know better. And reading like this one, reading about Auschwitz, I cannot believe that. Let me show you just, this is a side note, by the way. I'm looking like here, Himmler, look at him. Himmler, second from the left, was well pleased with the progress he saw at Auschwitz, subsequently promoting Horst, the commandant, to SS Lieutenant Colonel. He was impressed with what was being done at Auschwitz. What were they doing? Building a concentration camp to kill people. Oh, you're doing a good job. I really like what you did. I'm going to give you a promotion. Promotion for what? For constructing a place that looks good to kill people. That's it. These are folks who, again, don't be surprised. I'm reading, I've read this, who believed in these ideologies of from Mein Kampf of Adolf Hitler. What does he say about race and culture? All we admire in the world today, science, art, technology, and inventions, are the products of creative activities of a few peoples, and perhaps even originally of one race. The maintenance of civilization is wholly dependent on them. Should they perish, all that makes this earth beautiful will descend with them into the grave. People believe this nonsense. Some people believe this nonsense. So I am really now coming to understand it is getting too much drunk on power. Let me play you Obua. This is Obua proposing this stupid bill. Listen to what he says. Oh my God, this is Hamson Obua.
Sovereignty Bill seeks to 1. Operationalize or reinforce Article 1, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda.
We don't need no reinforcement. You guys do not even follow the law. You abuse the law. Can we live in a country where at least you enforce 20% of the law, but you folks even abuse it? So you are bringing an enforcement to the law that isn't put in place.
Which states, all power belongs to the people who shall exercise their sovereignty in accordance.
Shut up, Obua. Shut up. Shut your... I shouldn't be using that language. I'm sorry. Obua, go talk to the Ugandan people whose victory has been cheated, has been taken over by Museveni for how many times? When Besigye won and they took it. And I really hate these semantics, this academic language, and look at the seriousness and the confidence that he uses when he's just spewing out about it. Lies. He doesn't believe a thing. These folks are targeting Bobi Wine and non-government organizations in Uganda. That's why they're doing this.
With the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. 2, the proposed bill seeks to complement other existing laws, like the NGO Act. 3, the proposed bill reinforces the standard practice. We were colonized by the British. The UK has a similar legislation. So we are not inventing the wheel. Number 4, the proposed bill seeks to regulate foreign financial inflows. Those inflows coming into Uganda must be for legitimate reasons and not harmful reasons.
You know, these incompetent, really pathetic cowards cannot play by the rules, that they have to cheat over and over and over again. They are too lazy to engage in any game that should be managed in a free and fair way. They would rather either they use loopholes or outrightly break the law. Okay, we're going to come back to that guy, but let's go and listen. Let me show you what has been, I think it was a response from Sarah Birete, who said this. I'm going to read you a few lines from this bill. Sarah Birete said, actually, this person had, okay, I think I should take you first to Solomon Kampala so that you understand. He went on to read this, the Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026. And then he says, I've read the full draft of Uganda's Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026, dated March 3rd. Let me tell you what's actually in this document because the government is counting on you not reading it. I love this kid. He's investing a lot of time in understanding how our country is being managed. No surprise, an apple doesn't, but how does it go? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So yeah, first, the bill defines a foreigner as including any Ugandan citizen residing outside Uganda. So to the Uganda's, Museveni's criminal regime, I'm a foreigner because I've been living in the USA since 2021. Not a foreign spy, not a hostile government, a Ugandan living abroad. Your brother in Boston, your sister in London, your cousin in Dubai. Under this bill, they are legally classified the same as foreign government. Then he goes on to say, now, connect this to what's happening right now. President Chagulanyi is in the US. He left after the military besieged his home in Magere for 2 months. He's currently meeting with US congressmen, human rights organizations, and diaspora leaders building international pressure campaign. This bill would make all of that criminal. Clause 2 says the bill applies to anyone who engages in the political activities of Uganda for or in the interest of a foreigner, including through digital platforms like, hello, Mordecai Murisa here, right now on this YouTube channel or Facebook, wherever you're watching me, I am now committing crimes. I am probably engaging in a rebellion or terrorism. I don't know. They come up with all these semantics of words. They just choose a few words to use, to accuse me of something. You know them. Then they go on. He goes on to say, Clause 5 makes it offense to promote the interests of a foreigner against the interests of Uganda. I usually have I used to have my American flag. Probably then I'll be accused of flying the American flag. I have one here. Probably if one day I record my commentary without a Ugandan flag, they'll be like, hey, Mordecai, you are now promoting the USA. You're not promoting Uganda. This is what they're trying to do. They'll say, we saw you. They'll use this. Promote the interests of a foreigner against the interests of Uganda. This is me now promoting the interests of the foreigner. Don't be surprised. You might laugh, but that's the mindset of these people. They cannot bring themselves to playing a free and fair game. That doesn't compute in their mind. Okay. He says, Clause 10 criminalizes the promotion of any foreign policy not adopted by the cabinet. Clause 11 prohibits foreign agents from influencing electoral processes. Remember, they won't define these foreign agents, no. They just wake up one day like you've been seen. like we have seen them. They say Bobi Wine is being charged with, crimes of possession of firearms, only for them to drop those charges. Yet they said, we've found him, we have proof that is beyond reasonable doubt. Here is Bobi Wine with these guns. Oh, Chiza Besigye is being accused of ABC. They come up with all these charges that are really, really stupid. Okay. Clause 13. Economic sabotage criminalizes the publication of information that weakens the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, what's that kind of information that weakens the economy? Here we go. Mordecai Murisa, broadcasting from the USA, when he comes on the platform and says, ladies and gentlemen, I think I would request visitors from across the world not to go to Uganda, because currently we have government targeting citizens or insecurities. Because my actions and probably my influence would stop folks from visiting Uganda, which would end up affecting the economy. I'm committing a crime. How about you fix the country? How about you don't target your citizens? How about you lead? How about you don't abduct people? Like, how am I accused of, like I've always heard them say, of maligning the country? Monica, you hate on Uganda. When I say, hey, I think it is extremely immoral, illegal, and unethical to abduct people, torture people, disappear them, and murder them. I think it is wrong, it is illegal, it is immoral, it is unethical. They'll be like, no, you're saying this about your country. I'm like, no. I'm not just coming up with these things from my behind. All I'm saying is you can actually call my bluff. Show us where John Bosco Chibalama is. Tell us, brothers and sisters. Tell us where the NUP 18 supporters are. Tell us. You will silence me. But even before we get there, how about you stop abducting people? I won't have anything to accuse you for. Oh, I'm accusing you of doing ABC. Once you do not abduct people, you don't torture them, you don't kill them, there won't be me screaming like the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robin Anabanja, said, the government, no, they knew at that time, they knew where John Bosco Chibalama is. How many years down the road, his wife died, his mom died, his dad died. Up to now, we do not know where John Bosco Chibalama is. How about you stop abducting your own citizens? I won't have anything to complain about. I won't have anything to shame you on the international stage. I'll be saying all these beautiful things you want me to say. I'll be quoting Winston Churchill's My African Journey, where he referred to Uganda as the Pearl of Africa. I'll be singing every day. Uganda singa Bulaya, Chizude singa America. Okay, let's go here. Read here. The penalties up to 20 years imprisonment or fines of 100,000 currency points, which is 2 billion shillings. 2 billion shillings. He goes on to say, Part 4 goes after the money directly. Any agent or foreigner who receives more than 20,000 currency points, which is 400 million shillings, from a foreigner within 12 months, without the Minister of Internal Affairs written approval, commits an offense. Money received in violation gets forfeited to the state. Tell Kahindo Tafire, this is how much money I'm getting, and I'm getting it from this person. No one is gonna listen to this. Okay. Then he goes on to put this into context. He says, NUP is planning a diaspora convention in LA in August. NUP has fundraising operations across Washington, Boston, New York, and LA. The bill is designed to make every single one of those activities a prosecutable crime. And who administers this law? The Minister of Internal Affairs. An NRM appointee who can suspend or revoke registrations. The minister who approves foreign funding. The minister. There's no independent oversight anywhere in this bill. And there's then Sarah Bidete was responding to someone who pointed out, was responding to Kungu. There's a very interesting gentleman who preferred anonymity. This is what he wrote to Kungu. He said, your intentions to invite discussions is valuable. He was talking about, hey, Kungu was inviting folks to give out their opinions on this stupid bill. He goes on to say, okay, let's discuss. He says, it treats sovereignty as something that can be secured through fear and broad prohibition rather than through clarity, legitimacy, and institutional strength. The framers appear to think in fragments, not in systems. They reach for heavy penalties before establishing clear definitions. Terms like foreign influence or economic sabotage are left open and elastic, as if ambiguity were a virtue. This is not clear reasoning. It reflects a kind of part-time thinking where conclusions are rushed and foundations neglected. A serious legal mind begins with precision because law is not merely power. It is structure. When structure is weak, power becomes arbitrary. In such a setting, enforcement depends less on justice and more on discretion. That quietly erodes the authority of the state itself. Exactly. There's also a deeper contradiction. A state that fears engagement, criticism, or external contact signals not strength but uncertainty about its own resilience. True sovereignty rests on internal confidence, not external suspicion. A more grounded path is available. Define threats narrowly and clearly. Place enforcement under independent institutions. Regulate foreign funding transparently, not punitively. I mean, do we want to convince ourselves that these people don't know what they're doing? They know for sure. They know 100%. And I was telling you how Sarah Bidet was so quick to respond. This is what she said. He responded to that gentleman. Says, good observation. Uganda's sovereignty is already protected in the national objectives and directives of state policy in our constitution. Listen, it gets better. It says, anyone acting contrary to these principles is in violation of Uganda's sovereignty, including the abusive acts of government like violations of human rights, corruption, to mention but a few. That's chef's kiss. Sarah Bilete, that is chef's kiss. These folks are trying to define who the enemy of the state is. You, who is getting funding from people we do not know. You, who might have friends in the USA or Europe. You, who is opposed to the Museveni's criminal regime. You are the bad person. But she's pointing out that our sovereignty is already protected in the national objectives and directives of state policy. And we have something called the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda that protects citizens against actions of violence, of corruption, of human rights abuse. How about these folks start doing that? It is so funny. They're trying to create a law that is super selective. If they really cared about the law and enforcement, Muhoozi Kainerugaba would be in prison as we speak right now. This man gloats in the abduction and torturing of people. He brags about a number of people he's killed. When are you cracking a whip? When? We have something that's called the Constitution. We even have a situation where the head of the state, Museveni, has to apologize on behalf of his neighbor baby. Then you tell me they care about the law? They don't. Look at that guy, Norbert Mao, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. BS. What is he doing? Does he even care? He's just into these petty fights of fighting for position of speaker. This is targeting Bobi Wine. This is targeting you. If you're watching me from the US, you're watching me from the Middle East, you're watching from Europe, from South America, from Asia, and you are opposed to the Museveni criminal regime. Don't be surprised if you go back to Uganda and you're arrested. These people, it is a panic mode you're witnessing. They're trying to find all ways of how they can consolidate power by all means necessary. They don't believe in anything that is lawful, anything that is democratic, anything that is constitutional. They believe in the rule of the jungle. Might is always right. That's what they believe. But because they want to be perceived as people who are sort of acceptive to the democratic values or liberal ideas, they want the world to perceive them as that. So they propose this nonsense. Oh, we're going to go to parliament. We want to discuss. They know what they're doing because they have the numerical strength in parliament. They know they can do whatever they want. So this is all for sure. Museveni is inviting all these ministers to talk about ABC. First of all, 99.99% of them are afraid of him. Like they fear him. Even a mere, just one sentence of saying, I want all of you guys to vote for it. They'll be like, okay, sir, we're going to vote for this. Remember, he said that he didn't care who was in parliament as long as they belonged to the NRM. He didn't care whether they were stupid, dumb. It doesn't matter. He said, as long as, even if they slept, as long as they wake up to vote for his agenda. Sad time we find ourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Museveni's criminal regime. So I thought that would be good to give you some updates about this. You need to go and look for it. I think it's downloadable on the internet. It's the Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026. Sad. How? But again, it takes me back to where I began this video from. These men, they looked suave. Look at those long, whatever jackets they were putting on. They looked nice with the shoes. But what were they planning? When you see them walking together, what are they doing? Their mind is nefarious. It is toxic. It is poisonous to kill people. So when I see Hamson Obua, I don't care. He's willing to sacrifice the future of a country where if he dies, God forbid, he's going to leave his children or grandchildren that have to suffer through a rotten, evil system that is living for them. Does he know how it takes to undo some of these things? Does he even care? They don't. As long as they entertain Museveni and gives them crumbs, it is fine. It is sad. I mean, if this country ever changes leadership, it's going to be a ginormous work to undo the damage Museveni is leaving Uganda in. I'm telling you. It's not going to be, I know many folks are excited about change. Things are going to change sometime. Going to sing kumbaya. No. The next leader is going to have to be very strict and serious. Not a dictator. Every time you talk about serious and strict, people think, oh, we need a dictator. No. You can be serious and at the same time have care. But we need to undo a lot of things. Jeez. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I truly, truly appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, leave a follow, leave a share or share this video. And please make sure that you comment on this video. And I continue to invite you folks to be part of the Mordecai Murisa sponsors team. I'm wanting 100 people to come and sponsor me by paying 20,000 shillings a month. 100 people. We are, I think, 70-something. So, 20-something to go. If you want to be part of the team, please write to me on my WhatsApp and be like, hey, Mordecai, I'm willing to pay the 20,000 shillings every month. How do I do that? And I'll let you know. Now, I know I've had a few folks who ask me, did you mean 20,000 Ugandan shillings or 20,000 pounds? Absolutely not. 20,000 Ugandan shillings. Hey, okay. So, if you think I bring value, if you think what I do contributes to what you think should be contributed to, please make sure that you write to me on my WhatsApp, +1 712 303 7831, +1 712 303 7831, and I'll let you know how we can go about that. My name is Mordecai Murisa. See you later. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.